Joining us now is presidential historian Douglas Brinkley, whose books include The Unfinished Presidency, Jimmy Carter's Journey Beyond the White House. Professor, good morning to you. Thank you very much for being here.
Thanks for having me.
It was once said that Jimmy Carter is the only person in history to use the White House as a stepping stone for greatness because of all that he did after. And it seemed as though because of only 4 years in office, he was making up for something. He was very busy. What would he want his legacy to be today?
I think that he won a Nobel Peace Prize, which represents for him all the work he did at stopping civil wars around the world, of monitoring free and fair elections, of combating river blindness, guinea worm disease, tuberculosis, leprosy, you name it. It's interesting, Carter, as ex-president, wanted to destroy a disease. He wasn't somebody who's going into cancer research and finding new ways and more improved technology. He just wanted to wipe it out.
He was competitive, right? He had an edge.
The key to him, super competitive. In fact, I spent some time talking to President Carter in planes about all presidents. And FDR had a big impact on him because FDR was in a wheelchair. Right there, the little White House was in Georgia, down the country road from Plains. So when you're a kid in the Depression, you know, FDR's in town. And then he loved Harry Truman, the directness of Truman. And I think because Truman was also a Baptist, and Carter was, and really a Southern Baptist from Missouri. But he didn't get along with most of the other presidents. Now, Jerry Ford became his closest friend, the person he beat to your competitive in 1976. So now they can be friends.
Well, he wasn't afraid of criticizing the former presidents, right? He didn't think George H.W. Bush should have gone into Iraq. He thought Obama was wrong on surveillance issues. I mean, you name it.
And he not part of that president's club in those ways. He did a lot during Bush 41 because of his friendship with James Baker, which is based on hunting, quail hunting, and Christianity. But I once got to talk to Donald Trump at Mar-a-Lago and asked him about presidents of his life. And I said, what do you think, Mr. Trump, about Jimmy Carter? And he said, he's not my cup of tea. And I said, well, what do you mean not your cup of tea? Do you know him? Do you mean? He said, yeah, I got to spend some time with him once. He said, I was trashing Carter everywhere. And, you know, saying what a failure he is, worst president ever. And I got a call that he wanted to come see me. And I thought, oh, I'm going to get an earful of it now. Carter showed up with the Secret Service. This is his ex-president. And immediately Carter said to Trump, now, I'm trying to save lives around the world, you know, with the guinea worm, and we're doing this at the Carter Center, and I need a substantial gift of money from you.
I love that.
He guilted him, right?
He guilted, and Trump said, that's the first time I ever figured out how he became president, because it was this Jimmy Who of 76.
Yeah.
Trump didn't get the cut of his jib, you know? And suddenly he had the nerve to come to New York in my office when I'm trashing him and make me feel guilty about giving money to the Carter Center.
I love it.
Can we talk about his civil rights record? Because so much of it came just before his win at the White House and then certainly long after.
Keep in mind, coming out of Georgia politics, Jimmy Carter's, there is no photo of Carter with Martin Luther King Jr. He stayed away from him. It would have been toxic for Carter to have got one governor. But he did promise in 1970 to David Rabahan, his big backer, who was Jewish and had his office in the Southern Christian Leadership Conference. He told David, who had been giving him use of the private plane around the states, probably too much so, if I become governor, I will say it's time to end segregation now. And he lived up to his word, and he got sworn in as governor, and he said it. And it made the cover of Time magazine because David Rockefeller and the Unilateral Commission was looking for a Southerner to put on the commission. Kissinger was on it. You know, it's Japan, Germany, U.S. currency stuff. And now Carter became the token Southerner in the Eastern establishment.
Yep.
You know, Carter once said that if he had any regrets, it would have been to send one more helicopter to Iran to rescue the hostages. They would have gotten him out, and he would have been reelected. And that's what he said. Do you think that's true? Do you think that's what made the difference for him?
He used it as a joke line, but I do think it's true. But a critic of Carter in that moment, you know, he wanted rubber bullets used on that rescue. So he wanted no deaths. So we were going to land people and be able to knock out people at the embassy to bring our people home. He wanted no blood on his hands. There is an overlapping of Carter's very the important role of Christ in his life.
Yes.
And what does that mean for a sitting president? And he's most proud that he didn't get us into a foreign war, as he would tell me look, I could have bombed Tehran and been on the news in America at war, but we would have had a death toll. My way of doing it was slow, but in the end, all the hostages got released.
Christianity did guide his life. We'll talk more about it in the 9 a.m. hour. You're going to be coming back. We're looking forward to that. Thank you very much, Douglas.